Hey, everybody. I am so excited today because I am here with my good friend, Paul Preston. And Paul is the co founder and president of Aqua-Tots, the franchisor brand, the swimming schools, and founded that 20 years ago with his partners. And I am just so excited to have Paul here today. And he's going to be sharing a little bit of his growth journey. So, Paul, welcome to our Fran Faith podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Todd. Thanks for having me on. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into it. All right, well, let's just keep moving forward. I'd love to hear your story, kind of from the beginning. I mean, how did you start Aquatots, and how did that come about?
Yeah, my best friend, my business partner, Ron Ciaro, had started teaching swim lessons when he was just in high school, and he was in high school teaching swimming. Started this little business called Aquatots, and he started every summer. He kind of had this 2 or 3 month swim program, and that was kind of a side hustle, side business for him. I was on another journey. We didn't know each other at the time, and I was in the corporate golf background, so I was managing golf courses around the Southwest out here in Arizona, and always wanted to open my own business. My wife and I had a couple young families. She was a school teacher. I just wanted to start business. I loved franchising. I looked at being a franchisee, and a lot of my mentors were in franchising. They owned, whether it was Famous Dave's Barbecue or Krispy Kreme or Taco Bell. And Ron and I were buddies, friends. And he said, "Hey, man, why don't you help me take Aquatots from this summer seasonal business into indoor year round?" And so that's what we did. Ron and I just celebrated 20 years of being business partners
Wow.
2 months ago. So we've been doing this for 20 years and 2 months, and never dreamed of franchising. We just thought we were supposed to open a swim school in our community. And we did that. And soon after we opened, people started to call us and, "Hey, can you help me open a swim school? I'd like to open one in the other side of Phoenix here, or can you help me open one in Atlanta or Dallas or Detroit?" And we took the journey, we've been franchising now for 17, 18 years, and just slow,
Wow.
steady growth. And I love it. I love franchising.
And so I do too. It's been awesome. It's an awesome way to make a living, and it's a great business format. So how many units did you have then before you actually, when you had some of these calls, were you on the one unit and then you helped some others form, or did you have a few units?
No, just the one, Todd. We had one
Okay.
unit. We were over here minding our own business in a little sleepy town of Mesa, Arizona, and
Okay.
people, I don't know how they heard about us, but they were like, "Hey, can you help me open a swim school?" And I'm like, "Are you sure? Like, we just have one." And evidently, we were doing something right, so we took the leap into franchising and just with the one unit, and
Wow.
yeah, crazy,
Well,
so much fun.
that sounds like the most casual franchisor start I've ever heard. So you must have had you must have had some challenges in those early years. I would guess that you must have had some challenges in your start. And I know you and I have talked. I know you're a person of faith. I'd love to hear about some of those challenges, and I'd love to hear how your faith helps sustain you.
Yeah, challenges for sure, right? I mean, this is not for the faint of heart here to be franchising your concept. Number one, we didn't know what we were doing. We knew how to do it in one location, and we took a lot of pride in doing it with excellence. I think that's why people reached out to us. They saw the business, they saw it was done well. They thought maybe we had some good branding, some good marketing, some good systems and training, and we just didn't know how to franchise. So I think we knew how to run great businesses, but literally, Ron, my business partner, went over to Barnes and Noble, picked up Franchising for Dummies. He picked up the Franchise Bible, and we like, okay, let's figure this out. And we were very transparent with these first franchise owners who are still in the system today. We just said, "Hey, we know how to do business and we love people. And so if you're willing to give us some grace, we'll do this together." And so first challenge really is just understanding what franchising is, what it isn't, and taking that journey for them.
Yeah. Well, shout out to Michael Side, I guess, who wrote Franchising for Dummies, so he
Yes.
gets a little credit there. And so how quickly, just give me a little sense, give our audience a sense of how many units as you were figuring it out. I mean, was it a slow roll with 5 units, 10 units or something to kind of work your way
Yeah,
into a
for sure.
franchisor?
Yeah, we started here in Phoenix, and we said if we're going to do it, let's start in Phoenix. We had a couple people interested in Phoenix, so we opened a couple units here. Our first venture outside of Phoenix was across the country to Atlanta, and then we went to Dallas, and we went to Detroit, and then we went to Houston. And it just kind of got momentum. We're learning along the way, right? Our training, our programs, our launch team. That's a big word for like three of us. And yeah, I'm on the road training, Ron's on the road training. And so yeah, just cutting our teeth in the field, figuring this out. And what do our franchisees need? How do we, and here we are today, 172 units open. We're in
Wow.
14 countries. We're got a 5-year plan that we love, and it's just slow, steady growth with the right people, and we're sticking to it.
Yeah, well, that sounds great. I know we've talked a little bit about being a man of faith, and talk to us a little bit about your faith, and has that kind of spilled into Aquatots and in the mission and culture and what you're doing there?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's been a journey for us to figure out how do we live out our faith in the workplace, and that has some mixed messages. It always has for me in the marketplace. We are people of faith, but we're not a faith-based company. We have people from every walk of life that we interact with and love and care about. And so one of our core values is we choose relationships over profits, and that's a core value. It's in every one of our schools. It's taught to all of our team. And we might get beat up about that one a little bit. People might ask us, hey, are you guys socialists? Are you communists? I don't know. And no, we are capitalists, and we believe in free trade. We believe in the free market, and we believe in profits. And we just love people more than money. And that's part of the value that we try to live by is, we want you to come to Aquatas because that's where you're going to learn how to swim. Your child is going to be safer in the water and learn to swim because of us. And we want to compete in the marketplace. We want to be the best, but we also want to do it in a way that honors and loves people. And so at the core of us, if you were to strip us away, we just love people, and we're a people company. And boy, what a bigger, not a bigger calling we can have to be out there teaching kids to swim, and loving them through excellence. And that's kind of the balance we're trying to live by. Is it's a little wonky sometimes in the faith community of, we've got to earn their business, not be given their business. And so we want to earn their business because we're the absolute best in class in our industry. And so that's the tightrope I think we walk the most, Todd, is making sure we're the absolute most excellent company. And then if you look under the hood a little bit, you go, man, these people, they love me. They care about me. They care about my kids. They care about our staff, our teams, our neighbors. And so I think that's at the core of it, what drives us.
That's a fundamental, yeah, wow, it's so impressive. I know when I was in your office and when I was with you, I had picked up that card, I think, that you have the
Mm.
values. What are a few of the other values that are on that or part of the company?
Yeah, I mean, we want to give grace to those who are teachable. And again, that's not just for you, that's for me too. So if I'm teachable, if I'm humble, if I'm willing to learn, I hope you can give me grace as we figure this franchising thing out, as we try to serve our communities. And that goes both ways. If people around us are teachable and humble, I think there's some grace in there. And grace isn't a word thrown around in the business community very much, and especially not there in the corporate world. But we
Right.
think we can do both. We think we can do business with grace and excellence all at the same time, and that's a journey. That's a struggle. It's a little messy in the middle, right? It's
Yeah.
not it's not black and white.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I remember reading through some of those with you, and I thought to myself, gosh, these look familiar. And you made a comment I thought that was so classic. Do you remember the
Yeah, I
comment?
think these are tried and true. I mean, I think these are values that us as human beings can live by, right? If it's giving grace, if it's loving people more than money. One of the values we live by is we're going to first seek to understand others before trying to be understood.
Right.
But boy,
Right.
that's a hard one, right? I mean, I don't know about you, man, but I want to be understood when I come in there, and it's very
Right.
humbling for me to say, okay, I'm going to try to understand your position. I'm going to try to understand your background. How did you come to that conclusion? And so, yeah, I think these are values that wherever you come back and live your life, whether it's a life full of faith, a life of no faith, I
Right.
think these values can be used for life.
Yeah.
Just good key principles.
I agree. Yeah, what I was referring to was they clearly were values that were from the Bible, but as you had said, they're not attached to chapter and verse. And then as you were sharing with me, you went on to say you're living it out every day, and that's probably the most important.
And the hardest part, right? I
That's
mean,
the hardest part. That's right.
we can talk about this, and that's why, it's honestly why we don't talk a lot about it, Todd, because we want people to be around us, go, man, there's something, what's going on there? Man, you
Yeah,
care about me, you love me, you give me grace.
right.
What's that all about? Okay, well, I love because I've been loved.
Yeah,
I give grace because I've been given a lot of grace in my life.
yeah,
And words are cheap, man. Like, how about just living life on life and see how that all plays out? And it's hard. It's hard. I need a
yeah.
lot of grace as I work through it.
Yeah. Well, and we appreciate you sharing too. Many of the franchisors or franchisees that want to incorporate some of the culture in their company, you by applying them and living them and using words only if necessary, and not
Mm.
maybe attaching chapter and verse, it seems to be the best way to go. And so you're teaching us all how to do that better. Have you gotten into a situation where you had to rely on your faith to make a tough business decision, or maybe where you ran into something where one of those values were, wow, we're balancing this. What should we do?
For sure, 100. I think the one that we wrestle with the most, Todd, is I said it earlier. How do we be just incredibly excellent at what we do, and be judged on our excellence? And I go to a restaurant because it's the best food. I don't care about their faith. I don't care about their background. I go to my doctor because he's the best doctor in the world. I don't care about his or her background. And we've been a company full of faith, but I wouldn't always say we were the best. And we kind of use that as a crutch a little bit, and that's frustrating to me that we might do that, or other faith companies would do that. We compete in a marketplace
Yeah,
that brings up excellence, and I frankly agree with the way it's done. I
yeah.
I go to these companies for services and products because they're the best.
So what happens, again, not to put you on the spot, but just to
Yeah.
understand the value, what happens if you're pushing for excellence because the customer deserves that? You're training for that. A franchisee is struggling and not delivering that.
Hmm.
And so you're trying to kind of hold the line and enforce that, enforce the brand, if you will, as a franchisor
Yeah.
needs to do, right? But then balance that against grace.
Yeah.
How do you stay strong and still deal with kindness and love and grace? Have you run into
That's
situations
the
like that?
Oh my gosh, weekly, daily. Yeah, it's that's the core value that's the hardest. I mean, it really shines a mirror on our leadership. And, we talked to a lot of our general managers and our franchise owners about this particular core value. How do we give grace to those who are teachable? And the key part of that is the teachability. Again, I said it earlier, but it is really difficult to get, reprimanded by the franchisor like us, or fired. But I'm telling you, when arrogance is in there and there's no humility, it's not nearly as hard, because again, we're not the bad news bears, we're not the laughable losers, we're here to win, and we have to be teachable. We have to be growing. Our franchisees have to grow in their leadership. If they're
Yeah,
going from one location to three locations to 10
yeah,
locations,
yeah,
they have to be they have to be learning and growing. And I tell you, almost every situation like that, Todd, has been resolved when our franchisee looked in the mirror and said, yeah, I had a way of doing it, and I wasn't learning and growing. Or us as a franchisor, we had to look in the mirror and say, hey, you're right. We need to get better in whatever it is, marketing,
yeah.
technology, training.
Yeah.
And
So it sounds like you've always been willing to be open and communicate. You're always teaching that. And the fact that you're teaching and helping, and they have to have a little bit of humility and be coachable, and then demonstrate that in response, that brings the balance probably when you have to make a tough decision or have a tough conversation. And
yeah,
that is hard to learn. Right? I mean, that's hard for any of us to learn in life, and you're applying it in a business practice, which that's really good. Have you ever faced pushback in the business, on the faith?
No, not really. I mean, we try to do these things every day with the love and the care. I think love, care. I don't care if what country you're in, what background you're in. People just want to know you care about them, and if your motives are that you really care for them,
Yeah,
I haven't, in my estimation, I haven't seen people care what faith you have or what your background is. I think it was John Maxwell said it, but people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
right.
And if I'm misquoting John Maxwell, I apologize, but
No, I do
it
believe
stuck
that's
with
a
me.
Maxwell,
It
right?
stuck with me, and I think when our values come out and our faith comes out of love, I just haven't seen a whole lot of pushback on that. And some of my best friends, some of my franchise owners, who I look as some of my closest, dearest friends, we have so much in common. And I think one of the beautiful things about us franchising in 14 countries is some of my closest friends are in the Arab world or in the Southeast Asia, and we unite in our commonalities, which is we just love people. We love doing life together. We love serving our community, and so part of it is that's how we're looking for franchise owners too. We're looking for people who not just say they believe in these values,
Yeah,
but they've demonstrated them. Because I'm telling you, I've never met anybody who disagreed with these values. Now, do we actively try to live by them? That's a totally different thing.
right.
And I don't care if you're a Christian, a Muslim, a Buddhist, you're Jewish. It doesn't matter to me. I just want to, we're gonna do life together as franchisor or franchisee within these values.
Yeah.
And
Well, so you bring up a great point there when you say franchisees. So help us understand in the franchise development process, how do you present those values? How do you have them sign on? Do they sign on to those values? Do you know if they're
mm,
signing on? Do you just present and let it go and let God carry the rest? Or how,
yeah.
how do you work the franchise development process?
It's a difficult process to figure out who these people are. It just takes time, right? I've been married 31 years, Todd. My wife and I dated for a few years before that. Did we know each other really well the day we got married? I
No,
mean,
right.
somewhat, but then do we know each other better now after 31 years? Yeah, of course. And so as we're looking for new franchise owners and they're coming to us, we are working hard as a team to figure out do they have these values at the core of who they are? And again, I don't care about your faith background, but do you love people more than money? That's one of our core. We choose relation. Has your life demonstrated that? So our franchise development process is trying to vet that out, and we've done a pretty good job with it, but man, we've swung and missed several times, and it's hard because again, we're in this dating phase trying to figure it out. And again, these values, everybody believes in these values,
Yeah, yeah.
and we didn't make these up. They're timeless values, but it's really hard to find out, do they really want to exercise them? And what we say all the time, and it's true, is our values are really conflict resolution tools that we're all going to agree to use when we have conflict. So when we have conflict, we're expecting you to first seek to understand us. And we're agreeing to do that too. It's, where I think where values get wonky is where I put an expectation on values for someone else that I don't put on myself. And so that's part of what we're telling them is, hey, this is how we're going to live. We'd like you to live that way, and this will work out great. And when we do that, it does work out great. Now, when we've had potential franchisees tell us they believe in these things, and we come to find out they don't, boy, there's been some conflict for us to work through. That they said they wanted to believe in him, they said they wanted, and then we came into an actual conflict, and it got sideways really fast, and we're like, hey, what
Yeah,
happened here?
yeah.
And the truth is, the reality I think is, Todd, that if and I tell people this, like, hey, this is how we're going to do business, and if you don't want to do business this way and you choose to come on board, you're going to be miserable. I mean, this is going to be a terrible road for you. It's you want to make sure, because life's too short to be doing business in a franchise system
So you're kind of upfront about a lot of that and talk that through so that you're
Yeah,
trying to vet that. So in the case, and I understand you said you had some misses that go sideways, but have you had examples where things were maybe going a little bit sideways, but you guys stayed true to living to who you are and to those values, and then you won that party over?
I'd say so for sure. Yeah, or in some cases too, Todd, they won us over. There's been cases where things went sideways, and we didn't live by our
And
values.
so, but
We didn't first
that's
seek to understand.
but then
Yeah,
all of a sudden you recognizing that is you being
yeah,
self-aware and then living by those values, right?
yeah, 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 yeah,
So a little bit of humility, a little bit of okay, I didn't know that, I got it. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
with you. I'm
And
with you.
learning, and
Yeah,
that's where the hard part about grace, is grace definition is getting what you don't deserve. And
yeah,
now we're going to get what we don't deserve as long as we're humble and teachable. So there's got to that and that's messy, man. But franchising's messy. It's
yeah,
business, right?
yeah.
Life's messy,
Right.
and so
But
we try to embrace that.
what a great way to operate because franchisees don't necessarily have to run around or be scared or whatnot. You can be open with each other, and if somebody has an
Yeah,
issue or a problem or needs help,
yeah,
you can use all those values really come into play.
yeah. I think we do our best work when we're living in freedom, when we can breathe and we're relaxed. And I
Mm,
think we're supposed to live in freedom, right?
yeah,
And when I can help the people around me live in freedom, you can mess up. It's a safe spot.
yeah,
Let's learn from it. Let's grow. Let's be teachable. And so I think we all perform better, when we're living and working in freedom and not scared.
right.
Scared causes tension, and then we're not living up to our potential.
Right, right. Well, are there any specific scriptures or spiritual principles? I mean, I know you listed some of the values, which are principles for sure, but any scriptures that have guided your leadership?
I just mentioned one in freedom. In Galatians, Paul writes about it's for freedom in Galatians 5 that we've been set free, and we should live a life free. And I don't think we should be bound up. We shouldn't be so tense. We kind of get a bad rap out there sometimes with being, a little too uptight. And I think we're supposed to live in freedoms. I think leadership principles is guiding and living through that and being emanating that freedom and on other people that we're around, so we can
Yeah,
not live scared and tense and tight. We can, we say all the time, we take what we do seriously. Like we want to do great work. I want to be proud when I put my head on my pillow at night because we went out there and we wanted to kick some butt. But then we just don't take ourselves seriously. Like I can learn a lot from just relaxing, living in freedom, stop taking myself so dang seriously. And so I think in essence that's how I try to lead
I love it.
and live my life.
I love it. Galatians 5. Have to remember that. Do you incorporate prayer or worship or anything into what you do as a company or as a system?
Yeah, for sure. When we have a leadership conference, we'll have our owners forum. We have a very optional prayer breakfast, and we just lead that. Some people on our team, we're a multi-faith operation. We're a multi-faith franchise organization, and I think that's okay. I respect other people's faiths. I think they respect ours, but we try to lead with prayer. And so when we have a major event, 3 or 4 times a year, we'll have a prayer gathering and just try to give that time and ask God to bless these things we're up to. And then on top of that, we have a corporate chaplain on staff that works here at our home office, and we actually have two of them that both work part time, and they're just here for spiritual guidance, direction, just to love on our team. And life's messy, life's hard, and sometimes it's hard to find someone you can trust to talk to, whether
Yeah.
you're a believer or not, and just have someone that. So we've been investing in that for quite a few years, and it's important for me and my life as well. And I think it's important to have that for us, at least,
Yeah.
to have that person
So
on
is
staff
that
here.
is that chaplain mainly for the corporate staff, or is he interfacing with franchisees?
Both, like we have two part-time corporate chaplains on staff here, and they interact
Okay.
with our 50 employees here at our headquarters, and then
Okay.
they'll go to our owners meetings. A lot of our franchisors have been able to just ask questions about faith and get advice on life and talk through some serious problems. And like I said, life's messy and hard, and it's hard to find people that you can trust. And we just, as an organization, said we'd like to have a couple people that you can
Yeah.
just as a resource and trust.
Yeah. You got such a great heart, man. You and your partners, which is so, so nice to have you invest in that. Can you share some examples of how the company culture maybe has positively impacted franchisee or even the chaplain, maybe impacting a employee or franchisee or
Yeah, for sure. Like, I said earlier, life's messy and hard, and just because we have faith in a higher power doesn't mean it's not any less messy. And so, countless stories of people going through tragedy and death and divorce and just having a safe someone to talk to. And that's happened with franchisees, franchisors. It's helped them get through some of these things. And so again, life's hard. We need each other. And I'm an introvert,
yeah,
Todd. There's a lot of times I don't think I need anybody. I can do this on my own. And we're not created to be alone. We're created to be with people,
yeah,
and we need each other. As much as I'm a self-sustained, self-sufficient person, I think I am. I'm actually not, but when I'm in a bad spot, I think I am. And it's nice to have a safe place that I can go, you know what, I need someone to talk to about this. I need the people
yeah,
around us. And it's actually
yeah,
one of the things I love about franchising is everyone listening, and even you are in the franchise community, and I say it all the time, but it's easier to divorce your spouse than it is to divorce your franchisee or your
yeah,
franchisor.
yeah, right.
And which then for me, I love it because then I got to figure it out. I got to work it out. So when I have a conflict, I can't go anywhere. You can't go anywhere. So we better learn to live with each other and respect each other. And
Yeah,
that's part of franchising that I didn't know 20 years ago that was so beautiful.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I do think that business in general, like if somebody has a business and all of a sudden they're going through a divorce or something in their life, a death of a spouse or a child or family member, you'd almost in the business world make the expectation that, oh, that's going to distract them and they're going to have a tough
Mm.
time and that the business would go down. And many people just kind of give them space and ignore it. Where it sounds like with a chaplain on staff, you move towards it and help that person.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. That, what the world does.
Yeah. Well, we can't separate things, right, Todd? We're human, flawed,
Right.
messy people. And so if I'm having a tough time at home with my spouse or my kids, it bleeds over. It just does. And we can, corporate culture can tell you it doesn't, that you're supposed to leave that stuff at home, but you can't. And if I truly care about people, then I think I'm convicted and called to have a place for them to work through these things, to work through life. And
Yeah.
we can't compartmentalize these things. It affects
Right.
us.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Well, been 20 years. What are you most proud of at this point?
Most proud of, man. Well, I'm looking over at my desk right now, and I've got a list of our franchise owners, and I keep a list of franchise owners on my desk every week that I'm thinking about and praying about. And so I've got about 5 franchise owners a week that sit on my desk. And you ask that question, and I look down and I see one of my favorite people in the world, and she's our multi-unit franchisee in Kuwait. And I'm from a guy who never left the United States until 13 years ago when we opened our school in Kuwait that that we're able to take a business and go into countries who just need their kids to learn how to swim. And here we are in places like Kuwait and Dubai and Muscat and Doha and Hanoi and Istanbul and Cleveland and Miami, and it's just really neat. It's bigger and better than I've ever could have asked or imagined. It's so much, and it's very, very rich, Todd. Like again, a farm kid from Iowa who grew up in Arizona, and having friends in these countries that I literally love. I just never would have imagined it. And I'm looking down at Miss Dalal, and she's just absolutely one of my favorite people in the world. And it's really these relationships. You asked what am I proud of? I just love the people I get to be around. It's really it more, like I said, more than I've ever asked or imagined.
Yeah. Which you're referencing another scripture right there, which is
Yeah.
Ephesians 3:20.
Hmm.
unto him who is able to do exceedingly and abundantly beyond what we could ever ask or imagine. To him be the glory.
Yeah.
And so God deserves the credit. That's actually why we named our company 320 Group. That's
Mm.
after Ephesians 3:20. So it's one of my favorite scriptures. Anything else that I haven't asked, or that I should, or any lasting legacy of Aquatots? What does the future look like? Is there anything I'm missing here?
Yeah. Well, the future looks like a word you just mentioned, and that's legacy. And my business partner Ron and I started a nonprofit 19 years ago called Legacy Adventures,
Ah,
and we take fathers and sons and fathers and daughters camping for a weekend, and we love on the dads as they're trying to be dads. And so we've been doing that 19 years. And so you brought up a word legacy. What does Aquatots look like in the future? We think there's a legacy there. We think, and the reality is in life, right? We're leaving a legacy of some point, of some sort, whether we like it or not. Whether it could be a good legacy, could be a bad legacy. And so future for Aquatots, we really want to make a serious impact in the communities we're in. We often say around here that if an Aquatots were to ever close, that should be a bad day in that community, because we brought some light to the community. We hope we brought some great swim lessons, a great experience, great jobs, and so the legacy of that we hope continues to go on. And so we're investing with key leaders. We've got some of the best, I mean, some of the brightest, smartest people I've ever been around. I mean, there's, you know, tons and tons of smart people around us right now to help us get and grow to where we want to go. And so, you know, we're 172 right now. We're acting and behaving like we have 300 right now. So we're putting, if that's where we think we're supposed to go, then we better put together the plans and processes to get there. And so
that's
that's
great.
the legacy we're trying to build on right there.
Yeah. Well, more communities, more people served, and more
Mm,
people loved by Aquatots corporate and Aquatots franchisees and all their
mm,
teachers at the swim school. So,
yeah.
hey, Paul, thank you so much for your time and your teaching and your talents. You've just shared great wisdom with us, and we appreciate your faith and your heart. And I just want you to have a blessed day. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. It's great stuff.
All right. Take care.